First of all, karibu sana.
Asante.
Yeah, it's good to have you here. We can begin by you just introducing yourself. Tell us your name and a little bit about your professional background.
My name is Lydia, Dr. Lydia Okutoi. I'm a gynecologist.
So today I want us to talk about one of the topics that I think a lot of people out there are either not informed or misinformed about, and that is HPV.
HPV is an infection. And why are we interested in HPV, which is a viral infection? We're interested in HPV because it's the cause for cancer of the cervix. So for many cancers, it's association. They have no direct causes. But for cancer of the cervix, for those who, when we take specimens from the cervix that has cancer of the cervix, almost all of them, 99.something% have HPV. So HPV is called a necessary cause for cancer of the cervix. So that's why we're interested in it. Because cancer of the cervix causes a big disease burden.
Yes.
For cancer, it's actually number 2 to breast cancer among women in Kenya. Almost 3,000 deaths in a year. So that is significant.
So ideally HPV is human papilloma virus, right?
Yes, it is human papilloma virus and not HIV.
Yes, you need to clarify that. Human papilloma virus.
Yes. Almost all the women who've ever been sexually active have gotten HPV at one time or another in their life. Yeah, almost all of them. So it is a very common infection. However, there are types of HPV that are called high risk or oncogenic. They can lead to cancer. So those ones are the ones that if they recur many times, there's a chance that they could progressively change the nature of the cells of the cervix to become cancerous. So the other risk factors that make these necessary cause. So HPV is called a necessary cause. It is there. Now the other factors make it worse, or they synergistically make the cells change more. So usually the cervix is attacked, but it heals by itself. So many women at one point they had it, like a cold, and it disappeared. But if there is smoking, and then also if there is early sexual debut, starting sexual intercourse early, yes, so that is a risk factor. Then also just any other risk factor associated to unsafe sexual behavior, unprotected sex, and also the time of beginning and the kind of partner, the promiscuity of the partner is also associated with increased risk for HPV infection, which could lead to cancer of the cervix. So most of the women, they get HPV and it disappears. And should you be worried that you could be having HPV, let's say we do a test and we confirm you have HPV, should that worry you? Not necessarily. You just need to be given a conversation about sexual behavior in terms of low-risk sexual behavior. And then also most of the young people, if we rescreen them, we find that it came and it disappeared. So we're interested when we get the high-risk type of HPV or when we screen and we get signs that there is change towards cancer. So cancer of the cervix is one of these, we can say, forgiving cancers that once you get HPV infection, it could take even up to 15 years for the changes to occur. So that is why we screen at some age. Before, once the sexual activity that has begun in a girl, they should consider screening. In Kenya, we put an age of like above 25, which is good to be screened, but we even screen younger.
And that's for the cancer, for the pap smear
screening. We do the pap smear, but that pap smear screening, there are various types. You can screen using a pap smear to see whether the cells have changed, but you can screen using a HPV test to know whether there's a high-risk type of HPV. So when there's a high-risk type of HPV, that is now when we go to the next level of screening for those who can afford HPV testing. Even early cancer of the cervix, you may as well not have symptoms. So that is why we advocate for the routine screening according to the schedule that you've been advised by the doctor, because it is a certain kind of testing you've gone for. If it is HPV test, that is very sensitive. At times you can repeat after 5 years. And for those who've gotten to menopause and it's been tested to be negative, and let's say they have low risk sexual behavior, we even make the screening to be more spaced.
Okay.
Yeah, so it has no symptoms.
Okay.
Yeah, HPV, when we do a PAP, we just incidentally come across it. So primary prevention is prevent HPV from coming. That is delaying sexual debut and vaccination. Those are called primary prevention of cancer of the cervix. Then now secondary prevention is we want to detect it early because it has a window that we can see whether there are any changes, then we treat. And when we treat, we cure. Because we are treating cells that would have become cancer in another 5 to 10 years. Yeah, so that is secondary prevention. We said primary prevention is at source, or we call it upstream, before it happens.
Yes.
So vaccination by using the HPV vaccine.
Okay, so if I have that right, so part of the prevention measures is the vaccination,
Yes.
the late sexual debut, and screening.
Yeah, and just let sexual debut comes together with all safer practices.